This is NR2003 Predicts. Using constantly updating ratings, we determine where Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series drivers will place at any given track any given week. Standard disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only, using the process of artificial intelligence, and should not be used in the process of gambling. So here's how it works. We update drivers' ratings week by week as we go throughout the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series schedule. We run a 100% simulation with normal tire wear and fuel consumption. Qualifying results match what the drivers actually ran in real life. Because qualifying data can't be arranged at the same time as forcing cautions, stages will not be enforced throughout these races. And weather used reflects the real-time data based on the actual start time of the race. It is championship day. Qualifying rained out in favor of practice. That puts the championship four all at the front of the field. Denny Hamlin takes off from the start-finish line, and we are green at Homestead-Miami. The last time a championship will be crowned in South Florida, and Denny Hamlin getting off to a hot start, still seeking out his first championship in the Cup Series. He has 2 victories at this racetrack. He's the only multi-time winner in this field today. One in 2013 and 2009, but none of those victories propelled him to a championship. He is looking for one today as Martin Truex Jr., his teammate, goes to the inside line looking for the lead. However, Denny Hamlin might have the advantage on the high line. They enjoy running multiple grooves here with the progressive banking, and we've seen a lot of moves made in the Xfinity Series race yesterday. They're going to try to make those same moves today. Kyle Busch, he's currently the furthest back among these playoff drivers, but you can see they're all still nestled within the top 10. Obviously all starting up there in the top of the grid, and now trying to see if he can work his way up and get his second title after winning this race back in 2015 to get him his first championship in the Cup Series. But Martin Truex Jr. propelling himself to the outside line. The 2017 champion also looking for his second title. It's not all championship drivers that are in this hunt. Joey Logano knocked out of the playoffs last round because Denny Hamlin was able to get that victory at ISM Raceway. The reigning champion not going to be standing on the podium at the end of the night, but he is still going to try to go for a race win up here in the top 10 right now. Kevin Harvick, the original winner of this playoff format when he won his championship back in 2014 and this race, he has the best average finish of 6.5 at this racetrack among these playoff drivers, which is obviously makes him the only non-Joe Gibbs Racing driver, as 3 among him racing for the title. Kurt Busch coming down for an unexpected pit stop early in this one. Definitely shouldn't be a tire strategy because there is no one coming with him this early in the race. So a problem on the 1 car early, but he will return to the racetrack 1 lap down. Looking on the back of the 19 car of Truex Jr., Kyle Busch trying to track him down. And we see back here Denny Hamlin has slipped a little bit. He is trying to fight his way back up this traffic. As you can see, we've got some Penske cars on the outside lines, Kevin Harvick on the inside. They are working both lanes, but they're staying pretty stagnant. It's going to be a matter of momentum, but problems for the leader. Martin Truex Jr. goes up in a puff of smoke, and now he's holding up a little bit of the field as he tries to get down to pit lane. He is going to make it. Gets a little bit of traffic in the meanwhile, but that is going to take the 19 car out of this race. A championship contender now out early. Now we see who can claim the title. Kyle Busch out in front. We see Paul Menard, not a playoff contender, but this is his final race in the Cup Series. At least as a full-time competitor, he will be retiring after this race, and he is up here in the top 3, maybe going for his second career victory in the Cup Series if he's able to pull off a win here tonight, trying to fight off his pseudo-teammate Joey Logano in front of him, along with championship contender Kyle Busch. Also making his retirement tonight is David Reagan. He is making a push up the field, not having the greatest of nights, but this is obviously going to be quite a night for him as he makes his final full-time start in the Cup Series. Now we see the leaders catching up to some lap traffic, and that is going to allow Joey Logano to launch off the field. As you can see, the 15 car of Joe Nemechek getting in the way of the rest of these competitors, and the 22 car going to really take advantage of that. We see Kevin Harvick now, he's slid back the field, and he's trying to fight his way back up into the top 10, trying to get to the underside of Alex Bowman. He's got a little company himself to the bottom. That's Chris Buescher in the 37 that's trying to make a push. They can see he can't quite get the exit off the corner. You can see Kyle Busch trying to utilize the banking to get momentum on the bottom line after coming off the top. trying to get around the 51 car of JJ Yaley, who recently signed on to be a full-time driver for Rick Ware Racing. But the 18 car not doing too well to get around him. Now we see Ryan Blaney going to his outside line, and that's going to put a bunch of Penske cars at the front. 1, 2, 3 for Penske-affiliated cars. Wood Brothers Racing, obviously, a technical alliance with Penske in the second position. We see the leaders catching up to Drew Herring. This is his first career Cup start, a test driver for Toyota Racing Development, driving the 96 entry tonight. Trying to at least wheel this car around to a good finish, at least for that team's sake, and he's going to go down a lap in the early stages of the race. Now we see Kurt Busch going to the underside of the leaders. That is him getting his lap back. Obviously, he had that unexpected pit stop. That allowed him to take tires early, and he's running a lot faster than the rest of these guys. William Byron going to be the first one to come down for our regular pit cycle. Denny Hamlin going to be the first playoff contender to make it down the pit lane. He's going to try to get a time advantage. Kyle Busch next up to come down. You can see Kevin Harvick staying out, though. That's a bit of a move, strategy move for him, as the 4 car will be the final one to come down and get his fresh rubber. We saw tires really played a factor in yesterday's race. Almost looked like Cole Custer might have been able to pull something off after he reported a loose right rear wheel. Denny Hamlin going to be the one that gets out in front of this field, though, by getting that early service. But you can see Kevin Harvick able to catch back up to Kyle Busch, even though he came in later than the 18 car, and now trying to make a move to the inside. However, those two are both well back of the 11 car right now. They'll have to make a huge push to catch up to Hamlin, chasing down his first title. Kurt Busch obviously running a little bit slower right now because he still has that old rubber. In a few laps, though, he will come down for a pit service. Alex Bowman, though, he is the one out in the front of the field. He got that first career victory at Chicagoland, made his way into the playoffs, and got eliminated in the round of 12. However, he is out in front of this field right now, trying to spoil the title contenders. Also having some good days right now, Chris Buescher and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 2 drivers that are technically swapping rides next season. And it looks like they're both putting up good performances in their last attempts in these rides that they're running. At the moment, though, Alex Bowman trying to pull away from his competitors at the front of the field. You can see Ryan Blaney, he's still within a second, but the 88 car trying to make that car a little bit more of a speck in the mirror. Kyle Busch is trying to catch back up. He's inside the top 10 now, but that is not going to cut it where his teammate is. Denny Hamlin up in the second position. Hamlin really taking control of this race as it relates to the championship talk. As it settles down for a few laps, some silly season news. Daniel Suarez announced this week that he will not be returning to this ride. This will belong to Cole Custer, who finished second in the Xfinity Points playoffs last night. He is going to take over that ride after getting a serious amount of wins in the Xfinity Series. Suarez still looking for that ride for 2020. Also, John Hunter Nemechek, he is trying to look for a ride possibly for next season. No confirmed plans for 2020. Matt Tifft, though, we know that he has mutually agreed to part ways with the team, Front Row Motorsports, so that could open up that seat for John Hunter Nemechek if they decide to go that route. Alex Bowman now extending his lead. He is in a different zip code from the rest of these drivers, and Kyle Busch is trying to make his way back up the field. You can see he's gaining positions at a pretty steady rate, up to 6th place, and Denny Hamlin's in 4th right now. Obviously, the 88 car is pulling away from the rest of the field. Kevin Harvick now making a peek inside the top 10. But at the moment, it's Hamlin that's out in front, and obviously Truex Jr., a huge heartbreak for the 19 team that they are going to be last place in this race, not be able to contend in this one, but we'll see who is able to take home the trophy at the end of the night. Truex Jr. still got 2 teammates available to take home a trophy. Denny Hamlin currently in the spot and trying to take away a spot from Joey Logano, obviously not racing him for a spot in the championship title, but just trying to get around him and try to put himself in a gap to his competitors. Hamlin going to be the first one down to pit lane, and it looks like Harvick's going to stay out a little bit longer. You can see the speed that the 11 car has on that fresh rubber, and that's eventually going to force the 4 car to come down along with the 18. Those two come down at the same time. But you can see the 18's getting a little bit of traffic behind BJ McLeod and Matt DiBenedetto. Meanwhile, Alex Bowman, he still has the lead, but Denny Hamlin has really closed the gap. It's within 3 seconds after he had gotten off to a lot more seconds than that when he got into pit lane. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch trying to get around his brother Kurt, who still has those old tires. Kevin Harvick going to go to the inside of the 18, and that is really going to hurt Kyle Busch trying to get up the field. A lot of lost momentum right there. Meanwhile, for Alex Bowman, he's trying to put a little bit of a gap between himself and Hamlin, putting a couple cars a lap down. That's Reed Sorensen in the 77, Eric Jones in the 20. And for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he is not going away. He's inside the top 5 right now. He only has one top 5 on the season. That came at Charlotte earlier in the year. And now he's trying to end off the season on a high note before he transfers over to JTG Doherty Racing. Denny Hamlin trying to track down the 88 car. Look at the gap. It is closed tremendously for the 11 car trying to track down the 88. Meanwhile, keep an eye on Kevin Harvick. He has suddenly started charging up the field as he runs in the 5th position. And look at him going to the inside of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And he makes quick work of him, able to clear him off the corner. The 4 car is on the move, but here comes the 11 car trying to take the lead off Alex Bowman. And he's on the inside line, but lap traffic might play a factor in this one, and the 11 car able to get into the top position. Every champion so far in this format has won the race at Homestead to win the title. Right now, it seems like this field is spread out enough that you don't necessarily have to win, but the stars just might align for Denny Hamlin tonight as he goes for his first title. Kevin Harvick still working his way up the field, getting to the inside of Joey Logano. 4 car now up in the 3rd position as Denny Hamlin now starting to put a gap on the rest of the field. But look at Kevin Harvick, slides up into the outside line, trying to make a move on Alex Bowman. And he's already side by side going down the front stretch, and he might be able to get through him in turns 1 and 2. They'll continue running side by side into that corner, but I believe the 4 car will take the spot. And now he's working his way up toward Hamlin. Kyle Busch is starting to slide back. You can see he is not in a position that he wants to be in. Even though he's inside the top 10, he is 10 seconds off the lead. He is going to need a caution to catch up to this field. Kevin Harvick does not need a caution right now because he is charging up to Denny Hamlin, getting held up by Ryan Preece, and look at how close the 4 car comes to the 11. Huge run in that corner for the 4 car, and now he's looking to the outside line. Denny Hamlin gives him the room to run the wall. And now the 4 car to the outside, and he's going to get around him off the corner. Kevin Harvick to the lead, and now he's in front on the championship battle. But we're going to have problems here. Corey LaJoie turns Timmy Hill into the wall in turn 1, and that is going to be our first caution of the night. Pretty serious damage on the 66 car. A little bit as well on the 32, but the 66 going to stay on the racetrack. 4 car takes off for the green flag with Hamlin behind him. You can see no one that got a lap down is going to get it back because the 66 did not go whatsoever. But the 4 car going to try to hold off Denny Hamlin, who's charging to the inside now. Alex Bowman stays on the outside line as Hamlin tries to work the inside. We'll see which lane works out this time around. And Hamlin doing pretty well on that inside line. Didn't expect that as Harvick tries to work the outside lane, get some momentum going into turn 3 and 4. Kyle Busch is back in this conversation thanks to that caution. He needed to get back to this pack and get around some cars to try to reach up to his title contenders. Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin still side by side going through turn 3 and 4. But Denny Hamlin has the advantage off the corner. The inside line works for the 11 car and he's back in the lead. But the 4 car is right on his tail and this is an exciting battle. But the 66 gonna get in the way of the playoff contenders. Joey Logano rockets to the front of the field. Paul Menard just barely following. Hamlin able to get to the inside of the 66. But that might hold up a few other contenders. Kyle Busch, a ton of lost momentum. He's trying to draft off of Alex Bowman right now, but that is not going to help him. You can see those cars are way out in front. Hamlin trying to manage the gap between himself and Harvick now. He is chasing down a couple of Penske cars as well as Kyle Larson as we are just around 50 laps to go in the 2019 Cup season. Jimmy Johnson having a solid day today. He's another winner at this racetrack. Got the victory in his 2016 championship. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. flies into the corner. Lucky to jam on the brakes right there before he took someone out. And it looks like the 66 is holding up some more cars. And that might be the 4 car getting that lost momentum. And it indeed is. He is at the back of this field. We were on board Danny Hamlin right there, who was able to get around the 66. The 4 car not as lucky, and that cost him a ton of time. Now he has to work his way back up the field. Kyle Busch still losing time, trying to get a caution, hoping for one. That's his only shot to get back into this conversation. But right now it's Denny Hamlin trying to work his way around Joey Logano, trying to get around JJ Yeley in the same process. That might cost him a little bit of momentum. You can see the 22 starting to pull away. That would be a race for the lead at the moment. Chase Elliott up there in the high line, but he's going to have some company on the inside by Paul Menard. Kevin Harvick hoping that something happens right here that's going to allow him to catch back up to the field as he has fallen outside of the top 10. A huge bad break for the 4 car trying to get another championship. Had a good run in the late part of the season. How about Chase Elliott? He is running up here and trying to contend for a victory. He obviously got knocked out in the last round of the playoffs, but he is trying to finish off this season on a high note. Has a 7.6 average finish here, second only to Kevin Harvick on the active drivers chart. Now Denny Hamlin working the outside line, trying to get momentum to get around the 22 car for the lead. The 21 trying to push the 22 on the inside line, but the 11, does he have the race-winning speed? And will it propel him to his first championship in the Cup Series? Kevin Harvick, he's worked his way back into the top 10, but that is not good enough right now. But we are going to have fuel complications. They are going to have to come down 5 laps short. It doesn't seem like anyone in the field, unless they've been saving huge, is going to make it. This is Kevin Harvick. He comes down a few laps later than Hamlin does. And you can see as they come off pit lane, there goes the 11 car on the left side of the screen. He gets out way ahead of the 4 car who's just pulling off pit lane now and has to go through the access road. The 11 car now out in front of this field and trying to work his way around Brad Keselowski for the outright lead. And he's going to get him in the outside of the corner coming off of turn 2. The 11 car out in front of this field late in the going. And we're coming to the white flag here. The 11 car is in the lead, trying to look for his first championship in the Cup Series. It has been a crazy season for Denny Hamlin, a year removed from a winless season. Questions about his future at the race team. He goes out and wins the Daytona 500 and then adds 5 victories to that total. He came runner-up on the championship in 2010, 8 victories that year, 2 more than he has right now. He could add to it right here and earn a title in the process. Coming off the corner, well ahead of his championship competitors, Denny Hamlin is your 2019 NASCAR Cup Series champion. So many twists and turns in this race. Cars having momentum at different points in the race, but the 11 car got it done when he needed to, and he is your 2019 champion. He wins the race over Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson, Paul Menard. Next playoff competitor was Kevin Harvick in the 8th position. Pulled back a couple of spots, but unable to pull off the championship. He will remain at a tally of 1. Moving back, we see Kyle Busch. He ends up in the 13th position, the last car on the lead lap. Obviously, the momentum lost when he got held up by some lap traffic. Unable to grab a second title. He's still got a few years ahead of him to go for some more championships. Back here in the 20s, we see some pretty awful performances for Stewart-Haas Racing, despite the fact that Kevin Harvick ended up in the 8th position. Drew Herring, 28th in his debut. Daniel Hemrick, 26th in his last race at Richard Childress Racing. And then back here at the rear of the field, Martin Truex Jr. Quite a heartbreak for him. He could have been a playoff competitor, but unable to finish the race. He'll end up in the last position, and he will look forward to next year. That is it on NR2003 Predicts for the 2019 season. We hope you enjoyed all of these races. We hope you enjoyed tonight's race at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We will see you all next season.